evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series tonight at Silverstone Circuit. We're getting ready to start the party in style as we roll straight into the grid. Terry Crouch starts on pole. Lo Dom starting second. Brad Trenton starting third. Raymond Aguilar starting fourth. Kevin Burrows fifth in the grid. James Mullery starting sixth. Nick Peterson seventh tonight. John Kasai starting eighth. Connor Scribner starting ninth. Peter Rettinger starting 10th. Hunter Graves starting 11th. Ryan Tebow starting 12th. Then we got Antonio Bianchi starting 13th. Dustin Oberlo starting 14th. Norman King starting 15th. Andrew Neri 16th on the grid. Xavier Zinave starting 17th. Jay Small starting 18th. Michael Fairchild starting 19th. Anthony Asianati starting 20th. Matt Foster starting 21st. Ricardo Espino starting 22nd. Danilo Sparapani starting 23rd. World famous Australian Gareth Mcallister starting 24th. And that will round out the field here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to start the party. Who's it gonna be? As we wait for the lights to fully come on, let us know who you're cheering for and where you're from. As the lights go out and away we go for the feature event. 20 laps and already carnage, and we might see the first safety car of the season. Absolute bloodbath on the start. Let's see who all is involved in that one. It's King, Malaire, Bianchi, Graves, Tebow, all in that one. Out front, Terry Crouch is already in the lead. As we've got more crashing going on, it is carnage at Silverstone tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So that's Foster and Oberlo who involved in that incident. Foster able to get it fired back up. As we watch the battle for third between Raymond Aguilar and Brad Trenton. Norman King has retired from the circuit. He will be going back. As a reminder, if you take a tow, you are out of the race. Now Andrew Neri tied up in an incident as well, pointing in the wrong direction. And that number 65 machine looks like no impact, so things going well. Brad Trenton's taken back over third as Burrows and Aguilar are all in the mix here. I don't think I was expecting so much action early on tonight, but the fans are getting their full money's worth for the tickets tonight for Silverstone. As Crouch still out front, Doms has a comfortable gap back to Brad Trenton, and Trenton's going to have his hands full as Aguilar and Burrows are battling hard. Here comes Nick Peterson as well, the number 24 machine, trying to work his way up, accompanied by John Kasai and Peter Rettinger. The two teammates of Peterson and Kasai going to try and fend off the Austrian driver of Rettinger, the number 44 machine. Rettinger up 2 spots. As right now our hard charger on track is going to be Gareth Mcallister and the number 25 machine. Mcallister finds himself involved in a battle with Xavier Zinave, but Zinave pirouetting. He's got to be mindful of the rejoin here. Hops back in the groove, and it's time for him to hammer down. As we're going to go back to Kasai, who has Rettinger hot on his heels. Oh, more problems towards the back as Asianati finds himself pointing in the wrong direction. Quickly getting off track to avoiding carnage. Looks like maybe a little bit damage on the front wing of that number 23 machine, but he gets right back to it. Norman King joining us from the sidelines. He's unfortunately out already as we look at Michael Fairchild trying to fend off Small and Mcallister. Now Sparapani is our hard charger as he's up 14 positions, making his way into the 9th spot on the standings. Fairchild in hot pursuit of the Brazilian driver Sparapani. Jacob Wilson here tonight giving his support. Sparapani goes off track. That may allow Fairchild to take the position. It does. Now Fairchild moves up to 9th just ahead of them. Kasai and Rettinger still battling back and forth in the battle for 7th. As I believe we've got a battle for third shaping up as well. Brad Trenton, number 26 machine, trying to fend off Aguilar. As it looks like Doms as well, gaining a little bit of ground on your race leader, Terry Crouch. Doms has the fastest lap of the race, a 152.91. That's almost 4/10 faster than your race leader, Crouch, has clicked off. As here comes Aguilar looking to the inside line against Trenton. He will take over the third place very quickly. And now Trenton still does not have a break in the action. He's got Burrows and Peterson in hot pursuit as well. Oh, what a great shot at the speed these Formula 3 drivers are carrying. Everybody hitting speeds of around 160 miles an hour here tonight. Really working that draft with their friends to get the fastest times as they possibly can. As it is a four-car battle. Aguilar, Trenton, Burrows, Peterson, all in a freight train here. Now, the more these drivers battle, the less likely it is they'll be able to catch up to Doms and Crouch, who are ahead by 3 seconds of this four-car pack, battling for third. Ryan Tebow also joining us from the spectator area, where drivers are tuning in after misfortune struck a lot of guys earlier. Up front, it's still Terry Crouch, and now Doms has been able to reel in the number 59 machine ever so slightly. Both drivers setting fast laps in the low 1 minute 52 second range. Dom's going to try and pick up the draft of Crouch, the number 59 machine. Now this is usually a one-stop race for fuel, as we're going to have a battle for the lead shaping up early on, I believe. Doms and Crouch getting very close to each other. But we're going to pan very quickly back to the battle for fourth. It's still a three-car battle as Peterson throws it in alongside Burrows. He'll take over the fifth place spot. That's going to give Trenton some time to move and breathe just slightly with a clean track. Up front, Crouch still fending off Doms by about 0.6 of a second. It'll be interesting to see here. Crouch, one of the most winningest drivers so far this season. Is he maybe going to play it safe and avoid any misfortune? Following Crouch as long as he can. That's Doms taking the data to see what Crouch maybe has beneath his sleeves. As Doms doing a good job pacing the number 59 machine, staying right there as a shadow. Crouch's fastest lap, a 152.43. Doms answered with a 152.35. A very fast track for these Formula 3 machines. I want to say I've driven here on iRacing in the most recent Mercedes Formula 1 where it was blindingly fast around the raceway. As we're going to try and get Norman King up here to the waiting room, as he unfortunately had an early night and had to retire. All right, we're being joined by the pilot of the number 28 machine, Norman King. Norman, what on earth happened on that starting line to see so many good drivers having to go home early tonight in the feature event?
From watching the replay, it looks like we had a, hold on. Sorry, I had someone talking in my ear. That they spun the tires on the line, and by the time I recognized they were sideways, it was too late, and you know, we just sometimes need to be a little bit more easier on dumping the clutch on these cars and starting.
Now, I know you didn't have a whole lot of laps here on racing conditions. Unfortunately didn't get the chance to have any, but as we're watching some of these racers such as Crouch and Doms run around single file, is this a track in these Formula 3 machines that's hard to make passes, or do you think the leaders are just playing it safe and seeing what they have amongst each other at this point?
Through the technical sections, it's you need to just hold in line. The end of the hanger straight is probably your best passing zone, is if you can get the run out of, what is that, Beckett's, and down that long straightaway, and can duck out of the draft and get the inside line into that turn at the end of the straightaway is probably their best area to pass here today.
Now, do you think Doms, who's been consistently shadowing Crouch, is maybe just watching to see what the 59 machine does and measure him up, or do you think he's just doing his best to hang with Old Man Terry early on in the race?
They're both really fast drivers. I think what he's probably sitting back doing is seeing where he's the weakest on track, so he can make sure that he can attack in that spot and take him where he's weakest.
Excellent. I guess my final question here for you, Norman, is as these two are measuring each other up, do you think they're going to pit at the same time, or do you think we might see one driver go at the undercut and try and come out with a clean track ahead of them?
I would try the undercut if the clean track is behind me. Definitely if you're Doms. To get that clean air and get that dirty air off his nose through these turns could probably gain him a tenth or two per lap. So I could see him trying that strategy, but the thing is, does he have the confidence that he's going to get the clean track behind him?
Yeah, excellent. Well, very well said. Norman, again, sorry to see you retired early here tonight in that Mustard Seed Racing number 28 machine, but hopefully you'll be able to get it fixed back in time for the sprint race and try and salvage a bit of an evening.
Yes, this track's always been tough for me. This is probably the fourth race that I've been taken out on grid.
Well, Norman, hopefully that does not continue. And again, always a great time talking to you, buddy.
All right, thank you. You have a good one.
You as well, Norman. That was Norman King, pilot of the number 28 machine Mustard Racing backed race car. As we go back out in front after Oberlo had a bit of a moment, Dom still about a half second back from your race leader. As Dom clicks off the fastest lap of the race, dipping into the 151s here. Well done. Asianati has problems in the number 23 machine, quickly getting off track. And we're also going to check in on Sparapani. Sparapani has his hands full with Hunter Graves, number 37 machine, as he's trying to catch back up to Mcallister, the number 25 machine. Mcallister about 1.4 seconds ahead of the 12th place driver of Sparapani, and I don't think Graves has any intention of making it easy here as he sends it up the inside line, and now Graves will take over the 12th place spot. Got to check back in with the race leader, Terry Crouch, who has his own shadow behind him. That's the Canadian of Doms, who's having a fantastic race so far here tonight. Both drivers qualified first and second and are able to keep it clean thus far. And this is where you can get some really good racing. Two very fast, experienced drivers who are very familiar going wheel to wheel here on iRacing. And that will lend itself to some of the best racing we will have the pleasure of seeing so far this season. Now, Doms only has one win. That was last week in the sprint race at Hungaroring. Terry Crouch has, I believe, 4 different wins so far this season. So Doms trying to get up there, squeeze some points away from Crouch if he can have anything to say about it. As I look forward with bated breath to see what their lap times will be this time by. It's Crouch with a 151.85, but immediately answered by Flo Doms with a new fastest lap of the race, a 151.77. The draft very potent here right now, and these two are the closest two drivers out on track to our next battle. We have to go back to Kevin Burrows in 6th. Burrows trying to track down Nick Peterson just ahead, and behind Burrows is the Texas native John Kasai. He's about 5-6 seconds back, as now it's Peterson and Trenton that Burrows is trying to work on. Trenton in the number 26 machine, Peterson the 24, Burrows in the 80. A 3-car battle for 4th. Looks like Trenton goes a little bit wide there, able to hold on to it. Peterson not quite able to capitalize on the mistake of the number 26 machine. As right now the top 5, Crouch, Doms, Aguilar, Trenton, Peterson, but Kevin Burrows, the number 80 machine, trying to get up there as well, as he's right on the gearbox. And look at this, John Kasai and Redger having a battle of their own. Doesn't matter where you're at the circuit here at Silverstone, there's a race to be had. Redger gets clear of Kasai once more. I wonder if Kasai had a bit of a slowdown there. Back up front, Crouch and Doms just can't get away from each other. Now we are at the lap 10 mark, so the fuel window officially open for these drivers. Going to be interesting to see who comes down pit road first. As I would imagine, I would think Doms would be the first driver here to come down pit road, but he may be happy of following along with Crouch and may be able to save a little bit of fuel in that number 13 machine. Staying tucked in behind the draft of the 59 Terry Crouch. Doms with another fastest lap of the race, a 151.62, 2/10 faster than Crouch was last time by. That's what's so important about being able to stay in the draft here at Silverstone. I think Doms may stay behind Crouch here and maybe come in one lap later. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out and how much fuel saving Doms is actually been able to do as they set record-breaking lap times lap after lap here at Silverstone. What's it gonna be here? When are we gonna see either of these drivers come down pit road and signal? Either driver goes towards pit road. Looks like they were hinting at it ever so slightly. As at least it'll be an apparent pit road entry when these drivers finally decide to dip down the right side of the raceway. Looks like Crouch gained a little bit of time there with a 151.67. That's his fastest lap of the race. Still about 0.4 now ahead of Doms. As Chase Small will be one of our first drivers with a green flag pit stop. He's coming in on lap 12. As it looks like no other drivers coming down pit road as of yet, so Small going for a bit of an undercut. Now what you may be seeing here as well is a lot of these drivers stand as long as they possibly can, so that way they have to put even less fuel in their car at the tail end of this 20-lap feature event. That will allow them to be a little bit lighter and continue setting very fast lap times, as Dom still within 1/4 second behind Crouch. Both drivers running almost identical lap times here tonight. Now the question will remain, if Doms gets that clean air in front of him, will he be able to improve on his lap times and put a gap onto Crouch, or is Crouch going to be able to return the favor staying in the tow of the number 13 machine? Time will tell, and that's assuming we see Doms get in front of Crouch either on pit strategy or just racecraft. I think both drivers know there's still a long way to go in this opening feature. They're not having to push too extremely hard, as they are about 8.3 seconds ahead of Aguilar. And going from memory, I want to say Crouch and Doms are teammate. I'll try and get some confirmation on that. As we're going through the team channel here to see if Crouch and Flo are, oh, I just missed it as I looked over. Doms takes over the race lead. Shame on me there. Taking a look at that as Dom sets it up to the inside line and makes a very clean pass over Crouch. As we wait for that to update. And once more, we've broken the broadcast software, ladies and gentlemen. So it's still Doms out front, Crouch second, 13 laps into this main event. Neither driver has opted to come down pit road yet. When are we going to see the race leaders try and come down? They've been out here for quite a long time as it stands. So now I'm interested to see as a lot of the drivers come down pit road. Aguilar, Burrows, Rettinger, Kasai, 4th through 7th dive down pit road. Dom's, Crouch, and Trenton still stretching out, but let's see what Dom's lap time is going to be here. We've got Belial Games tuning in saying good day. Yes, everything's great here up in the broadcast booth. Good to see you. Thank you for coming out. We're watching to see if Doms will set more record-breaking times now that he's got the clean air on the front of that number 13 machine. Both Doms, Crouch, and Trenton still staying out here as we've got about a half lap left to go before they start their 15th lap of the race. Again, very interested to see how this pit window is going to shape up for these two race leaders. Ooh, Crouch gets set up for a big run, but Doms holds on to that 3/10 advantage. Looks like Doms is going to come down pit road as well as Crouch. Ooh, hard on the brakes is Doms to get slowed down before hitting those pit entry cones, not want to grab a penalty. But this is going to be very interesting as well, as it shows Aguilar and Burrows. Aguilar running 4th on track. But what's this? Doms has problems leaving pit road. What happened there? I'm going to try and get a replay queued up. And see what happened to Doms. Gareth Mcallister fan, I wonder if that's Grandma Mcallister joining us tonight. I could be mistaken. So let's see what happened to Doms leaving pit road, trying to grab a better angle. And oh, Crouch gets collected in that one as well. Let's back that up. So it looks like Dom just loops it himself. Yes. Around he goes. Crouch gets a little bit damage as well. Oh, there's going to be some talks there. Crouch still out on track. Dom's now showing in 4th. Crouch 6 seconds ahead of Aguilar, so maybe not having too much damage. Doms, though, he may be having a little bit more woes in that number 13 machine as he sees a race win taken away on pit road. We've seen races lost on pit road via strategy and penalties, but that may be a first one here, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of Mcallister, the world-famous Australian, Anna Mcallister, my apologies for the correction. Good to see the whole Mcallister family out here as we pan the camera to the young world-famous Australian Gareth, up 17 spots so far tonight as he tries to fend off the Austrian of Peter Rettinger, the number 44 machine. Doms signaling he's coming back down pit road. So Doms may throw away a race. Mcallister comes down pit road for his only stop of the night, as Crouch comfortably out lead with a 6-second gap. We're waiting to see what his next timed lap will be to see if that maybe shows if there's any damage on the front of that 59 machine after that pit road contact with Doms. I'm wondering if Doms maybe had a penalty or maybe had a little bit of damage. He's trying to repair that number 13 machine. Mcallister dropping down the standings, now showing 12th as he is in pit road. Yeah, Dom's in pit road for over 30 seconds, so either has a penalty or repairs that must be made. Fairchild catching back up to Chase Small, the number 5 machine. Small came in for the undercut, so hopefully he's got enough fuel to go the remaining 4 laps here at Silverstone. Oh, what happened to Fairchild? A poor entry onto pit road will face the number 88 machine with all sorts of problems. As we check in on Hunter Graves' number 37 machine, he's down 2 spots. But Danilo Sparapani has plans as well in that number 11 machine. Sparapani and Graves both came down pit road on lap 14. And now Sparapani is going to put his head down and try and charge here. Got another battle up on track. Mcallister looks like he's catching up to Fairchild. Fairchild may have a little bit of damage on that 88 machine with the botched pit entry. As this will be the battle for 10th. Now every position very important here in the feature event. The top 12 will be inverted for the start of the sprint race. And if you thought the carnage was exciting for the feature event starting, you're in for a treat. As the sprint race will be half the laps, twice the aggression. As another battle forms up between Graves and Sparapani. Still great racing. Sparapani has not let Graves out of his sight here. As let's see, Peterson takes a tow back to pit road. I wonder if so. A little bit of a trick you can do on iRacing is if you're on pit road, you can take another tow and actually progress you a lap. But what's this? Doms has more problems than the number 13 machine. Just having a night going from bad to worse as now he's showing 15th on the standings. All sorts of carnage late in the race. 2 laps left to go. Crouch still out front with a very comfortable 6.8 second lead over Aguilar. Trenton runs in 3rd, Burrows 4th, John Kasai 5th. As we're waiting to see if Sparapani will be able to make a move here in that number 9 machine. Now he's going to be happy, still up 11 positions. Graves down 2, so both drivers going to be able to score some points here in the opening feature. And don't forget, right after the completion of this feature, we'll have our top 3 drivers up here in the waiting room. Before we get ready to fire off for the sprint race. Looks like Sparapani was getting set up for a move, and yes, he's going to look to the inside. Not enough time to make it happen against Graves, but Graves will see the wheel coming from the bright pink car of the Brazilian. but it looks like Graves gonna hold on to it here slightly. As this is definitely the tightest battle we have on track right now. It's Graves, number 37 machine. He's running 8th. Sparapani in the 9. He is running aptly the 9th place spot. Ooh, Sparapani with a big off track there. Hopefully he doesn't get a slowdown. As it looks like Graves gained about 4 or 5 tenths. Until Sparapani got the slowdown there. Another battle out on track. Xavier Zenave, who had a rough start to the evening, he's catching up to Ricardo Espino. As we have, was that Doms? Yes, it was Doms. Just having a rough go of it tonight. He has another off-track excursion as he runs 17th in the number 13 machine. But now we're waiting to see if Zenave will make a big lunge on Espino in the number 70 machine. Zenave down 11 spots. Espino running exactly where he started in the 15th place spot. Ooh, what's going on there? Zenave giving Espino a bit of a wiggle. Not sure if that was in disapproval of something that Ricardo did or what exactly that may be. Xavier just looking for a way through here and not quite finding the openings. He almost tags Espino's back right wheel. The white flag is out for Terry Crouch, who's looking well sorted to bring home his 5th win of the season. That'll make him for certain the most winningest driver so far this season. As we are intently watching the battle for 15th, Espino and Zenave really going at it here. Waiting to see what's going to happen. Zenave looks like he's holding on to it, not having too many issues. Oh, here we go. It looked like Zenave was going to have the move, backs out of it. And Espino will live to fight another day here in the number 70 machine. Now this is the final lap for these drivers, so if they're going to make something happen, they need to make it happen very quickly. As in a very short moment, Crouch will be crossing the checkered to bring home the win. We check back in with Crouch. He makes his way around the final corners of the circuit. Getting ready to make it 5 here at the League Zero Formula Series. Able to navigate traffic, maybe a driver who just didn't want to complete another lap. That was Doms, who's going to go a lap down to Crouch. And just like that, Crouch is going to make it 5 here tonight at Silverstone. Aguilar brings home a 2nd, and Brad Trenton finishes 3rd. After a wild night here to start things off in the feature event. We're going to get these top 3 drivers up here into victory lane, a brief intermission, and then we will roll straight into the sprint race. We wait for the remaining drivers to finish up here tonight. Espino going off track, so unfortunately that will be 16th place finish for him as Zenave able to take over the spot. Looks like the race is getting slightly longer this season. Normally, it was not quite often we get close to that 45-minute time limit of the feature events, but we've got several of the drivers joining us in victory lane. Up first, we got Brad Trenton. Brad, you got a copy?
Sure do.
Brad, it seemed like an interesting night tonight, especially after that wild start. I mean, I don't think we have had the safety car come out so far this season. Do you think we were going to see it tonight after that rough start for so many drivers?
I wasn't aware that there was a rough start.
Well, the joys of being closer up front, I'm afraid, yes, several drivers, unfortunately, did not really get past the start-finish line, or at least into turn one after we had a big pile up. So looks like things went well from the front of the field, at least.
Yeah, it was largely clean. Nick unfortunately disconnected there, and that kind of made the rest of the race a little more mundane. But
well, Brad,
overall, wasn't too.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's all I got.
All right, well, Brad, I was going to say you'll be starting a little bit further towards the back here in the sprint race, starting 9th on the grid. And after I just told you about the bloodbath we had towards the middle and back of the field, are you a little apprehensive now for the sprint race?
I'm always apprehensive for the sprint.
Oh, consistency is key. Brad, great job on a 3rd place tonight. Who'd you like to give a shout-out to that's helping you out, that number 26 machine?
Oh, my wife's great. There we go. Wife is always a safe one, right?
Absolutely. Hopefully she's not listening. You're in big trouble. So, Brad, thank you again. Great job on the 3rd place spot. Congratulations to you and the missus, and hope to see you do well in the sprint race coming up here shortly.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. That was Brad Trenton, a pilot number 26 machine. Up next, we got Raymond Aguilar finishing 2nd. Raymond, it seems like you've been very consistent so far this season.
Yeah, if you take out one of those races where I had 2 DNFs and got hit by my awesome teammate, yeah, I'm getting better. I'm prioritizing safety and consistency over crashing and ending in tears.
Now, to be fair, I never said they were consistently great finishes. I just said you were consistent. So it's good to see the great part coming into play here. And the number 17 machine looking like it's flying. Now, is Silverstone a particularly tough track in this car? Or what do you think led to so many off-track excursions that we saw throughout the field?
It is. It's a high momentum track. You've got to really keep the speed in the corners, and it gets a little slick out there. But I don't know. Luckily, my State Farm Little Debbie Track Limit Racing Delara F3 car seemed glued tonight. I just couldn't get the raw pace that some of the other guys had.
Well, maybe things will go a little bit better in your favor in the sprint race. You'll be starting 11th, I believe, and as we both know, the sprint races can be exciting for better or worse. So what's the plan to survive the opening lap starting about midfield?
Oh, I have no plan to survive. I'm just going balls out, and we're going to see what happens. It's either going to work or it's not. So I'd watch close.
Well, there we go. That's Raymond Balls Out Aguilar finishing 2nd in the feature event tonight. Raymond, good luck in the sprint race. And who would you like to give a shout to that's helping you out?
I want to thank Track Limit Racing, my awesome, beautiful wife that never stays up to watch these things, and my team.
Awesome. Raymond, good luck out there, my friend.
Thanks so much, James.
Up next, we've got the most winningest driver so far this season, Terry Crouch, bringing home the top spot. Crouch, we brought you up here. We want to talk about pit lane safety and what it means to our drivers out here tonight. What do you think that means in your point of view?
Not hitting your friends, not pushing too hard. It was unfortunate. Flo really, this race was his to win. He had me on pace a little bit, and to see it, we were both trying so hard to gap each other out of pit lane and just fall back in line and keep gapping the next guy back. To have that was just really sad.
Yeah, you guys are put on a fantastic show, nose to tail, for I think 12 laps in a row until we saw the unfortunate pit lane excursion. We've seen races won or lost on pit road. I don't think that's quite what we were expecting here in the broadcast booth, but you guys put on a great show. So you'll be starting 12th in this race. I believe that Dom's will be starting about 17th. Do you think, with how wild these sprint races are, you may see yourself linked up again with that number 13 machine by the end of this sprint race?
If I make it more than a couple laps, maybe, but my luck isn't so good in these sprint races. And here it's not my best track anyway, so making the passes is kind of hard, but we'll find out. It's just a dice roll.
And Terry, I guess my final question for you is, we've seen you win races in the Formula 3s, we've seen you win in LMP2s and other races that you're in that are across the iRacing circuit. How hard is it for you to hop between cars and still put on such a great performance when you're racing several times throughout the week?
From LMP2s to F3s, not so hard because they're both downforced. You really want to keep the downforce on it, so the technique's basically the same. But I also run a GT3 league race on Sunday. That's the hard part because all the technique is just backwards. But I just spend a couple days, reacquainting with the car and focus on that car for 2 or 3 days, and then switch over in the next day.
Well, Terry, it's always a great time talking to you. Always fun watching you race, whatever you decide to hop in the cockpit of. And before I let you get ready for the sprint race, who would I like to give a shout out to that's cheering you on so far this season?
My wife, Jill, she's wonderful. My daughter, Aurora, actually gave me a congrats, so I know she watched this one. My teammates at TLDR, again, Flo, I feel so gutted, but really we had a strong showing with a 1-3-4 for the 2 TLDR teams, so good job, boys.
Awesome. Terry, always a great time talking to you. Good luck in the sprint race, which is sure to be exciting one way or the other, and hope to see you bring it home in the top spot once more.
You and me both, but I'm not betting on it. Thanks, James.
Take care, Terry. That was Terry Crouch bringing home the win here for the feature race. Don't go anywhere. We're going to run a very quick commercial break, a little bit of an intermission so I can grab some water up here in the broadcast booth, and we'll be right back with the final sprint race of the evening. Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona. The big one is out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The warm-up is finishing up, and it is time for the sprint race of the evening. And this is going to be exciting as this is a reverse grid. So let me remind you, it's Andrew Neri, Gareth Mcallister on the front row, Fairchild and Sparapana your second row, Graves and Small your third row, Rettinger and Kasai your fourth row, Burrows and Trenton your fifth row, and Aguilar and Crouch will be your final sixth row. As again, we have inverted the top 12 finishers from the feature race as we get ready to send them out. The sprint race, half the laps, twice the excitement. You paid for the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for those lights to come on. Neri and Mcallister, good friends and sometimes teammates on the front row. They ran a few endurance races together, so hopefully you don't see the number 65 of Neri and the 25, the world-famous Aussie Mcallister, go careening into each other. We wait for the lights to come on. And here we go. Will the start be better than the opening feature event? So far it is, as it will be an absolute hornet's nest into turn one. Neri takes over the race lead. No, he holds on to it from Mcallister. As it is John Kasai will be one of the first drivers with problems, a little bit of locking up with the smoke. And behind him, oh, what happened to Mcallister? Finds himself pointing the wrong direction. Ryan Tebow involved in that. Foster, Peterson, Scribner, King. What happened to the Aussie Mcallister? As we try and get our replay very slowly queued up here. Not entirely sure why it's taking so long, but we're watching to see what happened to Mcallister. To send that number 25 machine careening around. Does he just lose it all on his own? Yes, he does. The Australian internet failing the driver of the number 25 machine, so it's still Neri out front. Behind him, he's got Sparapani, Fairchild, Graves all in the mix. John Kasai rounds out the top five. As Mcallister, who started on the front row, now showing 22nd on the track. Only a 10-lap event here tonight. As Neri leading for, I think, the first time this season ahead of Sparapani. Oh my, what a busy field it is here. Neri looks like he had a little tiny bit of a lockup as well. That's going to allow Sparapani to make up some ground in the bright pink number 9 machine. All right, behind these two is Fairchild, Graves, Aguilar, Kasai, Small, Trenton, Crouch. A lot of familiar names and faces, and look at this. Doms has already linked up to his teammate Crouch as Neri gets his first lap lead of the season. Now Neri actually in a pretty good position here, so although he may not have the pace to hold on to the race win, he's got a lot of fast drivers right behind him. As Sparapani narrowly avoids getting to the back of the number 65 machine. That's allowed Fairchild into the mix as well. Fairchild's going to look to the inside line of Sparapani, as well as Hunter Graves going to try and make a move here as well. This has got to be boding well for Neri. Every time he looks in those mirrors and sees the three drivers battling hard behind him, he knows it's going to slow down the pace ever so slightly and allow that 65 machine to gain some more ground. As it looks like Graves has a big moment, 37 machine able to hold on to it. And I think Hornet's Nest is the most apt way to describe this race right now, as everybody trying to make up some moves. We are 2 wide and 2 rows deep. 3 rows deep, as now Sparapani and Fairchild also having a big battle as well. This has allowed Neri to extend his lead to about a second. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Ooh, Sparapani narrowly avoids coming back out on track ahead of Chase Small. So now it's Fairchild and Aguilar running second and third. Fairchild checks up heavily. What happened to Fairchild? Not sure if he had some sort of slowdown or what the issue may have been, or maybe some sort of damage. As here comes Chase Small, and oh my goodness, that's going to be bad news for a lot of drivers. That looks like it's Rettinger, Trenton, and Burrows, as well as John Kasai may have been involved in that as well. But now the field getting a little stretched out. It's still Neri out front by 9/10 of a second. Raymond Aguilar in hot pursuit, the number 72 machine. Where is Harry Crouch? Crouch running 7th, just behind Flo Doms. The two drivers working together once more. Neri trying to hold on to the race lead for as long as he can, but now Aguilar has no pressure behind as Chase Small 3.3 seconds back from the second place runner of Aguilar. Now, Neri finished 12th in the feature event here tonight. Aguilar finished, I believe it was 2nd. So the fact that Neri's been able to lead so many laps is quite an accomplishment. Having a good, clean race in the 65 machine. As we're going to pan the camera back to Chase Small, Sparapani, Doms, Graves, Crouch, all in the mix here. Now with Small, I don't want to say slow in the field down as he's driving to his limits, but with how much racing there's going on from 3rd place back, this is going to allow Neri and Aguilar to really stress their legs. It's already almost a 4-second gap back to 3rd place. As Sparapani trying to make a move on Small, unable to do so. Sparapani swipes the nose of Doms. Ooh, 3 wide. You don't see that quite often in a Formula 3 event. Sparapani and Dom still side by side. Doms drives it in deep on the inside line. Sparapani tries to answer back. Terry Crouch watching this show unfold in the number 59 machine. As we're side by side for the race lead, you can see all the action behind him. Neri still on the inside line. Aguilar trying to take the wider, faster way around. That'll set him up for the inside. Aguilar will take over the race lead from Neri and start putting his head down and try and make up some ground. Now this will be a good opportunity for Neri. This would be the first time he's been able to finish on the podium this season. So it'll be a very great learning opportunity if he can tuck in behind Aguilar and just put some distance between themselves and Chase Small, who's running in 3rd, 4 seconds back. Now this race, no planned pit stops from our drivers, barring any incidents that may have them locking up their tires or needing to repair some damage. As our spectator acutely points out, Gareth Mcallister, who had a terrible start, has worked his way back up into 14th. And we're going to go back to Chase Small, who has a lot of pressure from Doms. They've gained a little bit of ground in the lead pack, now about 3.7 seconds back from Neri. Make it 4 seconds, so Small having a lot of company, having to hold on him for dear life, and that's going to not allow him to push as hard and deep as he would like, as he's got Doms and Crouch right behind him. Those two drivers, number 13 of Doms and number 59 of Crouch, you can guarantee will be working together here to try and get around the number 5 machine of Chase Small. And interesting point of topic, Small's teammate Aguilar is out front as Small locks up the brakes once more. Almost looks like Small's trying to set the pace here and keep the two teammates behind. Hunter Graves takes a tow back to pit road. He'll be out of the race, as well as Peter Rettinger. And more update, Xavier Zanave out, and Small locks up the brakes very badly this time. That's going to allow Doms and Crouch to get by. Let's take another look at that as Small takes a tow back to pit road. A little bit of contact possibly with Doms. Let's see. Looks like he was pretty unsorted getting to the right-hander, and no, he gets a little bit of help from Crouch right behind him. So now Doms and Crouch have broken free from traffic, but about 1.7 separates these two drivers. Doms finds himself almost 3 seconds back from Neri. Will there be enough time for Doms to get up there and battle for podium contention once more? McAllister all the way back up to 10th. Doms with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:52.98. Aguilar did drop a 1:52.56, but unfortunately that was a dirty lap, so invalidated, and now Dom's going to put the pressure on Andrew Neri, who's fighting for his life in the 65 machine to hold on to a podium spot, but he's got a lot of fast drivers right behind him. As Doms takes the position, let's see what Crouch is going to do here. But the early race battles have allowed Raymond Aguilar to stretch his lead. He's about 5.3 seconds ahead of Doms. As we only have 13 drivers out on track after the 24 that started here, so a rough going for the sprint. We were able to get off the line nice and clean, but that's about it. Then later on is when the carnage really happened. Here comes the battle for third. Andrew Neri has Crouch right behind. Crouch looks to make a pass on the straight. And looks like Crouch will make it happen nice and clean, that number 59 machine. So now it's Aguilar, Doms, Crouch, and podium contention. Neri running fourth, Peterson running fifth on track. Ooh, looks like Crouch maybe almost had an off track there. He's got to be careful. I know he's trying to put his head down as he has the fastest clean lap of the race on 1:52.21. But hopefully Crouch keeps the red mist from covering up his eyes. Looks like Nick Peterson's taking over the fourth place spot. He's up 16 spots in the number 24 machine. Neri cycles back to fifth. Still looking good to bring home his best finish of the season, as Peterson has a big bobble, allowing Neri back by into the fourth place spot. That may allow Bianchi, the number 17 machine, to catch up as well. And you may see a 3-car battle here for 4th before this race is over. Just a couple of short laps left to go for these drivers. Crouch has the fastest lap of the race as he runs 3rd. He got down to a 1:52 flat. Absolutely flying in that number 59 machine. Oh, there goes Neri. And that will allow Peterson and Bianchi to get by. Now let's see if Bianchi's going to make a move in a newly painted number 17 machine. I haven't seen that paint scheme out of him yet so far this season. As he currently resides about a half second behind Peterson. What a wild night. As now we're watching to see if Bianchi can try and reel in Peterson. Looks like Peterson able to extend that gap to about 0.6 of a second. Now as far as lap times go, Peterson was only able to go about a 1/10 faster than Bianchi's fastest lap time of the race. As we are rapidly running out of time here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Bringing these drivers to make big moves. It's still pretty stretched out at the front. Aguilar holds a 4-second gap over Doms. Dom's about 3.8 ahead of Crouch. Bianchi still trying to get a little bit closer. Looks like Mcallister also has his own battle going on, the battle for 11th. He's putting the pressure on Kevin Burrows in the number 80 machine. Looks like Mcallister will get clear here, gain another spot, working his way back up to 11th. And then we're also going to check in on Sparapani, currently running 7th in the number 9 machine. He's trying to put pressure on Neri in the 65. Now all these drivers out here battling for some much needed points, trying to better themselves as well as their team. Aguilar takes the white flag, still running about 3.4 seconds ahead of Doms. Looks like Small, no, never mind, Small's been out for a while, I'm afraid. Looked like we saw somebody trigger the pit road lights. It was Sparapani, very briefly did. Now Crouch has been slowly catching up to his teammate Doms, now less than a second between these two drivers, but I don't think enough laps to make something happen. They're still about 2.7 back from your race leader, Raymond Aguilar. As we've got about a half lap left to go here at Silverstone for these drivers. And barring any mistakes from Aguilar, I think he's looking in a very good spot to try and pick up a win here tonight. Getting back on the leaderboard, Aguilar has been searching for a win all season long, and it's been just out of reach time and time again. As now it looks like Raymond Aguilar on his way to his first ever victory of the season. As you can see him celebrating ever so slightly, he realizes what's about to happen. And the checkered flag will fly for Raymond Aguilar, the number 72 machine, picking up the first win of the season just ahead of Doms and Crouch, who will finish second and third here tonight. We're going to get our top 3 drivers up here to victory lane. And Raymond Aguilar is going to celebrate, as well as I believe that's Antonio Bianchi putting on a smoke show. But Raymond Aguilar with a big win here tonight. A great race all the way around. We're going to try and get these drivers up here into victory lane to tell us how things went from their point of view. As we are still waiting on Aguilar, Doms, and Crouch to make their way up into the booth. We've got Doms. We're waiting on Crouch. And we're waiting on Aguilar as well. All right, we've got the whole gang here. Up first, Terry Crouch, number 59 machine. Terry, I know you're always apprehensive coming to these sprint races, but got to be pretty ecstatic to bring home a relatively clean race car as well as a third and salvaging some points and I think extending that points lead despite finishing third tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it was a better run than some previous weeks. I feel bad about. It looks like me and Michael Fairchild, I sideswiped him coming through. What is it, 9 or one of those bends? Felt pretty bad about that. There was another one with Chase Small that I got to look at in the replay because it felt like I had a run and he changed lanes mid bend and there's nothing I could do there to stop. So we'll find out. I feel bad when guys leave, but I'm kind of figuring out you got to be really aggressive to just get by guys, otherwise they run away like this.
Yeah, just not enough time in these sprint races. Yeah, and like in the feature race, we see that more often. Drivers able to kind of pick and choose those passes a little bit more safely and navigate the raceway as clean as they can. But the sprint races, it's kind of every man for himself and go, go, go. And looked like once you and Doms were able to clear traffic, you guys had the pace, but just about maybe 4 or 5 laps short of seeing you in the top spot with your teammate here tonight.
Yeah, we needed more laps to really do anything, but I think Raymond was doing a little weaving and showboating at the end. He sent me a message last week when he beat me about the gauntlet dropped, so I think he's trying to develop a little rivalry here, but let's see.
Well, good to see. A lot of fun watching you guys out here tonight. Terry, for the final time, give us a send-off. Who'd you like to give a shout-out to this evening?
My wife, my daughter, my boys at TLDR in the Sim Pit, and League Zero for having an awesome setup here, and of course you with the broadcast. It's always fun.
Oh, my pleasure, Terry. Good to have you back up here the second time tonight, and hope to see you do just as well, if not better, next week.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. That was Terry Crouch finishing third. Up next, we've got Doms, a man of few words, the Canadian, the number 13 machine. Doms, looks like things went a whole lot better here in the sprint race compared to the feature event that we saw.
Yeah, ups and downs of sim racing, I guess. I'm more gutted than happy, though, because of the incident in race 1.
Yeah, unfortunately not what we wanted to see, but it looked like you and Crouch able to get past that relatively quickly, link up in the sprint race, and put down some more record-breaking laps. Now, are you guys practicing throughout the week together as a team, or are you able to show up cold on race night and put down those very fast lap times that we've grown accustomed to see now the TLDR team?
We usually get together the day before the races and look at each other's lines, inputs, etc. a little bit and help each other out.
Well, it seems like it's working out very well for you two. Both drivers on the podium scoring some much-needed points tonight. And again, we didn't get to talk to you after the feature race, but some of the best racing we've seen this season. So good to have you back up here, able to recover tonight, get that car hammered back out, and put on a dominant run in second tonight. Doms, who would you like to give a shout to that's cheering you on this season? Friends, family, sponsors, the floor is all yours, my friend.
As always, my boys at TLDR SimSport, Terry, Kevin, Rosie, and yeah, that's about it for tonight.
Well, Flo, always a great time talking to you. Good to have you up here in Victory Lane, and hope to see you do well next week as well, my friend.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. That was Flo Doms finishing second tonight. And up next, the man of the hour, Raymond Aguilar, the number 72 machine. Raymond, welcome to the first win of the season.
Yeah, it's actually my second, but we're
Wait,
doing
what?
good. We're keeping the record books.
Well, for some reason, it does not show it on the updating standings. I don't know
We're
why.
Still good. Let's just point out, in the last time I talked to you, I said, you need to watch, James. Here it comes. You're about to see something spectacular. In fact, I sent you that poem all about what was going to happen, and it all came true. Second race, sprint race win for Track Limit Racing.
Now, Aguilar, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Go ahead and tell the viewers tonight what that podium entailed, because it was absolutely beautiful. One of the most well-written poems I've ever had the pleasure of reading with my own eyes.
Yeah, it started off as a limerick, turned into an actual just like poetry slam session. I brought up, all kinds of political topics and recent events, and I think it came together beautifully.
That explains the new paint, and it looked like things are working out well for you in that number 72 machine. Now, it looked like once you had that gap, things were going pretty well. Were you happy to see Doms and Crouch kind of battling with traffic in that first half of the race, and did that give you a little bit more, I guess, ease of mind for this sprint race?
Yeah, absolutely. When I looked down and I saw I had a 5-second gap and there were 5 laps to go, that's easy math in my head. 1 second a lap. I think I got this. I knew I wasn't as strong this weekend. I didn't have the pace, but I figured I could hold off a 1 second per lap advantage.
Well, Raymond, always a great time talking to you. Always good seeing the guys do well, the team doing well. And up here in Victory Lane, great seeing that 72 machine as proud covers in that first place spot. And you have the distinct luxury and privilege, my friend, of the final send-off on friends, family, sponsors, whoever you can think of, or a shout-out. It is all you, my friend.
Yeah, I want to thank those chunky candy bars that they still somehow make after 80 years. I want to thank League Zero, my team Track Limit Racing, and my cat Daphne.
Aguilar, always a great time talking to me. Congratulations on the win, and hope to see you carry that success in the coming weeks.
Yep, thanks so much, James. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. That was Raymond Aguilar in the top spot after a great race of our final sprint race of the evening. Now, the standings here will say feature. Ignore that. That's a limit of the iRacing scoring, but it's Raymond Aguilar winning the sprint race of the night. Flo Doms finishing second, and Terry Crouch will round out our podium. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in, supporting the broadcast, supporting your favorite racers, and in supporting a fantastic league here at LeagueZero.net. My name is James East, wishing you all a happy and safe evening, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a great night, everyone.